body shaming, a shooting, and an unwanted house guest. We gonna get into it. Let's get it. Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our video podcasts, YouTube exclusive contents, and our YouTube membership. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'll be talking about IIona Maher, the ICE shooting, and a Reddit story about an unwanted guest, two of them, that just won't leave. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. You know, it's funny out there. I am somebody in the fitness world. And let me preface this by saying I'm an evolved and a changed man. I'm going to get into why I'm bringing all this up. Back in my youth, I was a judgmental person on women's bodies. I'm telling you, I've done a lot of growing through the years. But, you know, I was 22, 23, 24, like typical toxic masculinity. I used to judge women's bodies. Here's the crazy thing. I was fat myself. There's a reason why I got into fitness in the first place. A gentleman named Sebastian called me a chunky monkey. And I was like, nah, ain't no dude gonna call me a chunky monkey. And I got in shape despite the fact that at the time my girlfriend had been telling me that I was, out of shape and I needed to be working out. I didn't really give a damn because I was still getting them ladies. But I did. I used to body shame women, even when my body was something I needed to be ashamed of. And you see it constantly because I'm around a lot of bros. I don't want to be around a lot of bros, but I am. I'm around a lot of bros, and all they do, a woman comes up on the television, man, she's all right, I might hit it. And I'm like, why is that the first thing that you would think of? Why is that coming to your mind? And there's a whole reason behind it, but the idea that men have the right, and sometimes women, like this is not solely a man issue. This is a man and women issue because the biggest haters on women are in fact women. I'm not talking about from a number standpoint. I'm talking about the societal impact. Because yes, men hating on women does affect women in society. It absolutely does. But it hurts when it's coming from your own kind. And I'll get into more about why things hurt coming from your own kind in the second segment. But why am I bringing this up? IIona Mueller, and I'm butchering her name. Her name is difficult for me. This is because of the speech impediment, but y'all know who she is. She's the Olympic rugby player that blew up during the Olympics in the summertime with her TikToks and things like that. Posted photos on the red carpet in a mini dress, and a male commentator on her IG said she looks pregnant, basically policing her body for not fitting a flat stomach ideally. She clapped back with a viral video explaining what he was seeing was just a normal woman's body and implied he probably hasn't seen many in real life. The moment taps into a bigger pattern here, though, where men feel entitled to publicly judge women's bodies, even when those men are not fit, i.e. me back in the day. They're not fit, not attractive, or experts on anything, but they feel entitled to comment on women's bodies. This entitlement comes from a mix of patriarchy, objectification, and culture that treats women's bodies as a public property for male review. It's not just rude comments, it reflects deeper beliefs about who gets to define what a good woman body looks like. And this is absolutely fact. What I'm saying, this isn't an opinion. This is a fact. And I know I'm sounding like a provocateur by saying it's a fact. It's a fact that this is what men feel like they could do because of patriarchy, objectification, and the culture that treats women's bodies as public property. You want to know how this is fact? Just look at Roe versus Wade being overturned. Look at the legislation about women's bodies and who's legislating it. Who has the right to tell a woman what she could do with her body? And what gives a male the idea that he has a right to tell a woman about her body at all? Patriarchy, objectification, toxic masculinity. But I just love her because she's a woman who's proud about her body. She did a swimsuit body pose. You know how they do this Sports Illustrated, like body magazine or whatever. Yo, her body is slamming. She is curvy as she would want to be. She don't have the ass that she wants. These are things that she says. I think she's fine as hell. More importantly, I love her personality. She is a welcoming, loving person that's an ultra competitor. Those are things that's right up my alley as far as what attracts me to women. I love those strong women that are at the top of the field or striving to be at the top of the field, who are driven and determined. A lot of things that men are insecure about, I love and crave. And I know the reason why. It's because I have those type of women in my family. The type of women that I look up to in my life are those women, those strong, independent, driven, gonna get things done type of women. Majority of women out there are like that. If guys would take the time to stop objectifying their bodies and look at them as who they are as people. But I love the fact that she was like, look, man, you just don't know what a woman's body looks like. You probably haven't seen one naked. So you definitely don't know what a woman's body looks like. And she was like, good luck, because I'm putting you on blast. And I know my followers are going to kill you. And they did. Fans flooded in defending her, praising the clapback and mocking him. Yo, in today's society, you can't be attacking people with toxic masculinity and think you're not going to get a clap back. Yes, I know the Manosphere is vast and large. I get it. But do you know who the most sensitive people are? Those men in the Manosphere. And they're going to be on here right now saying I'm beta, that, I don't know what a real man is, this and that and the other. And I say it all the time. These aren't people that would say it to me in my face. Even if they do all that MMA training, they think they're a tough guy. They wouldn't say it to me in my face, and they wouldn't want the pressure that I bring to them if they did. And I'm not somebody who's talking about I'm this great fighter and this and that, doing that whole bro thing where guys like to defend, I can fight this and that. Look, let's be real. I haven't been in a fight in 20 years. But I will say this, you don't want to test me. You don't want to test me. I have an anger and a fury that's inside of me that I keep suppressed, pressed down. Working out helps me deal with that anger. I'm really an angry person. Everybody says I'm nice and pleasant. I'm truly an angry person. So behind this smile is a fire that's burning that shouldn't anybody want to confront. That's just my little aside. Of course, I said I was growing, but I still got a little of that toxic masculinity in me. But, like I said, the bigger conversation is why so many men feel comfortable criticizing women's bodies publicly, even when they're unfit themselves and not being asked for their critique. I posted something on my own personal social media page a long time ago, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was about men critiquing women's bodies when their titties are sweating. And that's real. There's a lot of dudes out here. I'm looking at them. I'm like, bruh, go pick up a dumbbell, get in the gym, put down that donut, because you look horrible. There is no reason for you to be out here criticizing women what they look like at all. And it's all on social media. And I feel bad for women out there because, God, y'all being judged so much. I've lived with women, dated women, have women in my life, women that are close friends of mine. I know the work that goes into getting ready to go out. I know how critical they are of themselves. I'm also in the fitness industry. I've been a trainer for over 20 years. The majority of the clients that I've had, I would say about 85%, have been female. I know how critical they are of their own bodies. They don't need any critique from you. None. Especially when you looking like Humpty Dumpty yourself. It just boggles my mind that in this year of 2026, men still feel like they could do these things, but it's easy to do these things when you're under the anonymity of the internet. And so let's go back to why men feel entitled to do these things. Cultural norms, right? Women's bodies have historically been treated as an existing for men's pleasure. So judging them becomes normalized, especially weight, size, and attractiveness. And you hear these clapbacks and on these dating sites. Well, women do have height requirements. Not all women, majority of women do have height requirements, and men don't have any control over that. And men will say, well, we have weight requirements. And I will say that I don't have a weight requirement. I prefer a woman that works out. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a certain aesthetic. I do have a certain aesthetic that I'm attracted to. If you short, curvy, and got glasses, odds are I'm gonna be attracted to you. I don't know why. That's my type. Short, curvy, glasses. Have I dated tall and thin women and all? Yes. But for some strange reason, if you are under 5'2", wear glasses and curvy, you got me. But going back to, what is aesthetically pleasing, that all changes from guy to guy and from woman to woman. But the point is that, yes, this has been normalized in our culture to judge women by their bodies. And we need to start breaking those chains because I'm going to tell you, a lot of men don't want to be out here judged by their bodies. They really don't. I've had men come to tell me that say, and I've told this before in the podcast, they said to me, and women don't like all those muscles. And I'm like, the hell they don't. I can tell you that they absolutely do. I'm not bodybuilder, I'm not out here looking like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I got nice little cuts and builds them. I got a nice little size. Women absolutely do love muscles. I said, your women may tell you that because you don't have them. But I assure you, every time they see me, they comment about how great I look. So they sure as hell would like for you to have some muscles. But you don't want to hear that because that would hurt your feelings. Who's really the beta? Anyway, what's another reason why men feel entitled to comment on women's bodies? Power and dominance. People argue male size and strength being bigger than a woman is a read as a sign of dominance, and critiquing women's sizes reinforces that hierarchy. I mean, that's a theory, but let's just go with power and dominance, right? Because that's the basis of patriarchy. Men feel that they could do that because men predominantly have been the power force. And I've said it time and time again, and I can't stress it enough. And I'm a male, proud male. Wouldn't want to be born anything other than a male because I understand the strife and the struggle that women go through. And thank God I was born a male and identify as a male. Women are better. Women are better than us in every way except for physical strength. And in every measurement, the more anytime we are head to head, and there are tests of our intellect, emotional intelligence, the ability to handle things under stress, women always do better in those tests than men. It's been done in NASA, it's been done in the Army. Armed forces, the only thing that men have over women is physical strength. That's it. That is it. So, yeah, there's this idea of this dominance, and it's really from all these scared little boys that grow up to be grown men, but are still scared little boys that think that they have to dominate because they're more superior, and they're not, right? Certain philosophers argue men are taught they are entitled to certain feminine goods like sex, care, and admiration, and to the authority over women's bodies and choices. Yeah, men are taught that at a very young age, that we're entitled to that stuff. Toxic masculinity and patriarchy at its finest. And speaking of patriarchy, because I keep mentioning that, in a patriarchal system, men's views and desires are treated as the default. Women are pressured to match male-defined beauty standards, so men feel authorized to grade women publicly. Think about that. She is an Olympic gold medalist. The top of the top. He is some random dude online that has the audacity to comment on her body. What has he done in his life? Period. But it's this patriarchal system that tells him, no matter what she does, you're still better than her. So you have the right to say whatever the hell you want to say about her body. Objectification, the lack of empathy and socializing. Many men are taught to see women, aren't taught to see women as full people with body autonomy. Online spaces normalize rude commentary with little consequence. This goes back to what I was saying. These little boys feel like they can say whatever the hell that they want to say to these women out here, and they're given the autonomy online and allowed to be rude. And you get guys saying, yeah, she looks fat. Yeah, wouldn't hit it. She's chopped. Like, meanwhile, these guys ain't accomplished nothing in their entire life. This dude probably couldn't even run a mile. He's criticizing an Olympic woman's body. An Olympic woman's body. Look, I can't stress it enough that men need to take a step back. I've learned so much from the growth that I've had, taking a step back and looking as women less as sexual objects and more equal, and then something that's better. And it was always there. You know, my grandmother was somebody that I loved with all of my heart. Little spitfire, little teeny tiny woman, but was tough as nails. I saw this woman in her 50s, 60s, just hop in a car and drive from Maryland to California by herself. One of the strongest women that I know. And she created another woman, my mother, who's one of the strongest women that I know. And these are the models that I have. And so I've been fortunate to step back, have my eyes opened by various women outside of blood in my life that have opened my eyes and helped me grow as a person, as a man, to better myself and try to shake the shackles of patriarchy and toxic masculinity. Do I still look at women and be like, damn, she look good? Yeah, that's because if they look good, they look good. If they look good, they look good. I don't judge women or men, them, they, anybody on their body. Because once again, people being critical of your body is still never as bad as you being critical on yourself. And I'm a prime example of that. I am always calling myself fat. And other people around me are like, you're not fat. To me, sometimes I'm fat, right? Sometimes I'm fat. Sometimes I feel that way. If somebody came up to me and said to me, man, you're starting to get fat, that would hurt. It would hurt. And I'm somebody who's pretty secure in themselves as a person. But more importantly, what would give that person any right whatsoever to say anything to me? So men out there, if you wouldn't want anybody to call you fat, maybe think about that next time when you're judging women's bodies. Speaking of important women, strong women, women that are fighting for a cause, I'm sure it's been on everybody's timeline. I've talked to some people, they don't know the details of it. A lot of people don't know the details of it and damn sure have an opinion. But I'm going to be here to give everybody the facts and then give my opinion, my perspective on the facts. Why? Because I try to be a journalist. I try to. I try to give you guys the facts and then give my commentary. So here's the facts. Renee Nicole Goode, that's her name. Say her name. Was a 37-year-old Minneapolis mother of 3. 37. I'm 45. 8 years younger than me. She was 37. A mother of 3. And why is she important? Why is Renee Nicole Goode important? Because she was shot and killed by an ICE agent during a neighborhood immigration operation just last week. Why is this important? Federal officials immediately called the shooting self-defense and labeled her actions as domestic terrorism. Why is this important? While the video evidence and local authorities dispute that claim, there are people still saying that she was a domestic terrorist. Why is this important? This case initiated protests nationwide and reopened debates about ISIS tactics. I always call it ISIS. I'm going to call it ISIS throughout this segment, even though I know it's ICE, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I put that S at the end, although ISIS and ICE, maybe not that far apart. But there's been debates about ICE's tactics, use of force, and how protests or community defense has been criminalized. Media commentary, especially from high-profile figures, have further polarized public opinion. Okay. Renee Nicole Goode, here are the facts. Renee Nicole Goode is a U.S. citizen. Like I said, from Minneapolis, mother of 3. She was shot by ICE agent Jonathan Ross. It was part of an ICE operation targeting immigrant neighbors. Goode was observing as part of a rapid response ICE watch effort. So why is this blown up? It's blown up because of conflicting narratives, video evidence, and domestic terrorism language. But once again, the key facts. She's a mother of 3, a U.S. citizen. She was part of a led ICE Watch network linked to a local charter school. The video shows her staring away as Agent Ross crossed in front of her SUV. Ross then fired 3 shots through the windshield at close range. ICE, DHS claimed self-defense, saying that the vehicle was weaponized. Local and state officials say the video does not show imminent threat. DHS used the term domestic terrorism to describe her actions immediately. The investigation is going on now with the state probe and the FBI. I've seen the video. I've seen the original video that came out and his video, the shooter's video, because he was recording on his cell phone. This is what I know from the video. She's part of a rapid response team, ICE Watch, and there needs to be people and more people watching ICE because of the illegal things that they've done. A lot of stuff that we probably don't even know about. They've snatched people, flown them over to prisons without due process, which is illegal. They've snatched up citizens and questioned them because they look like they could be illegal, which simply means that they're picking up people of color. This was a white woman. This was a white woman that's just part of a local watch. And she's waving them past, saying, go ahead and go on. They jump out the car, telling her to exit out the car. Anybody that has seen anything as far as ICE and the videos that ICE have been doing as far as arresting people, snatching up people, I'm not complying when ICE comes at me. A police officer asks me to step out the vehicle, this and that, I'm doing that. They got body cameras. They got checks and balances, though not well. They have checks and balances. There is a system in place, not a great system, but a system in place that makes sure that my rights are protected when I'm dealing with law enforcement of a state and local level. But these guys have no checks and balances. The government has been saying they're getting rid of fraud and waste. The government has been saying that we can't feed kids, that we can't forgive loans, student loans, but yet there's a major sign-on bonus to be be an ICE agent, and you get 6 figures a year. And where's the checks and balances as far as the job applications? Many people in law enforcement have said that this shooting was not justified. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to say, Bruce, it was justified. The car was a weapon. Have you seen the damn video? It almost made me cuss on here. I guess damn is a cuss word. Have you seen the video? She's waving them past. They jump out the car, tell her to exit. Hell no, I'm not getting out the car because I don't know what y'all are about to do. She turns to try and leave. He's circling in front. Does a car clip him? Yes, the car clips him, but that's because he circled in front. She's got people coming from her left. She doesn't even see him. It's not like she revved up her car to turn and hit him. He stepped in front of her car. He got clipped, but he didn't get hit because had he got hit, he wouldn't have been able to shoot through the windshield. I don't know if you people know physics, and a lot of people that are out here commentating, it's clear that you don't. It's clear where your bias is. It's absolutely clear where your bias is. But if you get hit by a car, even John Wick wasn't able to shoot people after getting hit by a car. Not as he's getting hit, maybe on the ground, but that's not what it was. He shot through the front of the windshield and then shot as she was passing by him through the window. So it was an imminent danger. How was a car used as a weapon to attack him? I know if I got a car and I want to run over and hit somebody, I'm not going to miss them. It's a car versus a person. But those on the right immediately labeled her as a domestic terrorist. Do you know what domestic terrorism is? Domestic terrorism is ICE. They're domestic terrorists because they are not following the law. They are not giving people due process. They are domestic terrorists. The people that are labeling Renee Goode are domestic terrorists. They're the ones who hate the country because they are trying to take a country back to an age that never actually really existed. I've heard people say, I miss the country that it was. No, this has always been this country. And this isn't even as bad. You know, people are out there talking about this is bad. You know, this is the end times. No, it isn't. Go back and research the year 1968 in the United States. Go back and look at all the things that happened in that year in 1968. It was one of the worst years, if not the worst year in American history. So these are not the end times. It's just, you can't turn away from it anymore. This is who this country has always been. It's always been weaponized. The government is always weaponized against the marginalized group. Always. And now domestic terrorism has become this legal term and political weapon to label anybody that they feel like don't agree with them as a domestic terrorist. Hell, Trump even said that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a traitor to her country and labeled her a domestic terrorist. And you know who domestic terrorists are? The Proud Boys, the Ku Klux Klan, the Oath Keepers. Those are legitimately domestic terrorists. They are everybody from January 6th that stormed the Capitol. Domestic terrorists. They literally tried to stop a government process. That wasn't protesting. That went beyond protesting. Those are domestic terrorists. And this idea that the right and these ultra MAGA conservatives, because it's not everybody on the right, okay? It's MAGA, okay? It's MAGA that are doing that. And people that didn't even realize that they were MAGA. I had somebody that I've known, I don't know, maybe 10 years, maybe around that time. We are friendly. We're more like just social media friends now. And they made a comment about, comparing Charlie Kirk and this young woman and saying that everybody was talking about how Charlie Kirk deserved it, which the same people weren't saying that he deserved it. What people were saying is you reap what you sow. And that nobody is saying that this woman put herself in harm's way and that she deserved to die because she put herself in harm's way, and making the comparison, well, you reap what you sow, you reap what you sow. And I was just like, that's a horrible comparison. Because both people were assassinated. Neither situation was good. And nobody's condoning what happened to Charlie Kirk, just like nobody should condone what happened to Renee Nicole Goode. Different scenarios, completely different people, not comparing them morally at all. Comparing the situations, both of them shouldn't have happened. Here's the difference though. Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a person that, I don't know, have y'all heard a lot about this person in the trial? Like, I haven't really heard a lot, but it's a singular person. It wasn't the institution. It wasn't the government. Renee Nicole Goode was assassinated by a government official and then blamed for being assassinated. I unfollowed her and I removed her from my followed group. I was like, this is what you think? We're not friends anymore. Because I've told you, and I've said it on this podcast, and I've said it to people in my personal life, we can disagree about certain political ideology, right? We can disagree on how we feed the kids, not if. We could disagree on how people get affordable health care, not if. We could disagree on how people's rights are protected, not if. Those aren't debates. Those are questions on morality. And if you consistently show me that your morality is extremely flawed, there's no reason for you to have a personal relationship with me. Being ignorant is one thing. Being willfully ignorant, I'm at that big age. I don't have a lot of time left. I probably got more time behind me than I do ahead of me. And I don't want to waste my time with willfully ignorant people. So I deleted her, erased her. We're not friends no more. We're not going to be friends anymore. Also, there's a question of what happens when immigration enforcement meets protest activity. Because ICE is absolutely not following due process and violating people's rights. It is our responsibility, whether we're affected personally by it or not, to protest people's rights being violated. It's no different than the civil rights movement. And oh, by the way, the people that are right now calling her domestic terrorist would be the people that would be against civil rights. History has said that. Once again, guys, I'm a historian. I've seen it all before. If you study history, this is not anything new. This is the same song put on repeat. Sometimes it's a remix, but it's the same song. It's the same structure, the same words. The beat might change a little bit. That's all. We've seen this before. I've seen this over and over and over again in this country. At one time, slavery was legal and freeing slaves were illegal. This is what we're talking about here. We're talking about, yes, there are some people here that are undocumented, illegal. They're here. And there is a process that's already in place to catch them, have them have their time in court, and if need be deported or finish the steps towards citizenship. But you got people who have done all the right things, who have followed the rules, being deported. Meanwhile, this president decides to go into another country, extract the president of that country, and put him on trial for drug trafficking. By the way, just a little offside, I thought the big problem of drugs in this country was fentanyl. Supposedly, this man, the president of Venezuela, was trafficking cocaine, supposedly, allegedly. I thought that cocaine is the big deal, and if cocaine is the big deal, Venezuela is not the main trafficker. All the Mexican cartels are the main trafficker. Why are we going into Mexico? Oh, because they ain't got that oil that we immediately took. Okay. Why also is this important? Who was shot? I've said this analogy before. I'm going to keep saying the analogy. One of the greatest lines in The Godfather is Clemenza's line when Michael is being prepared to shoot Klemensky. And they know that once they shoot this police captain, all of the other 4 families are going to attack the Corleones. And Michael Corleone asks Clemenza, how bad is it going to be? Clemenza says, it's going to be real bad. It's going to be real bad. But this thing has to happen every 5 to 10 years. You got to clean out the bad blood. I've often said I didn't want him to be elected, but he needed to be elected the first time and the second time to wake people's up. Okay. Some people got woke and 16 through 20. More people are being awake now in 20. I mean, in 25 and 26, more people are being awake. But if this was a brown person that was here undocumented, shot and killed by ICE, there wouldn't have even been this much uproar. Wouldn't have been. I knew as soon as I saw that it was, one, an American citizen. That's important. That's an important detail. And a white woman. That this was going to hit a chord with the public. Just like Bloody Sunday. Bloody Sunday was the day that it was televised of the march in Birmingham, where you saw all those black people and white people, pastors, priests, walking, singing, marching peacefully, being attacked by the police in that area. And it woke people up and said, wait a minute, what the hell is happening? That people are peacefully protesting and being beaten up like that. Even priests and pastors. Renee Nicole Goode is a wake-up call to a lot of people because it humanizes this whole situation. Can't say anymore, that's not like me. Can't not identify with it. It's close to home because that's a person that kind of looks like you or looks like somebody that you love or that you know. And if they can do that to her, wait a minute, they could do that to me because she was trying to get out of the way. She was trying to let them pass. Was she being antagonistic with her words? Sure. But words don't justify an execution. And then you got Donald Trump saying that the officer was viciously run over. If he was, he wouldn't have been able to shoot to the front and to the side of her. Not shooting the side of her as he's down on the ground. He's still standing. He wasn't viciously run over. This is a tragedy. And you got people like J.D. Vance calling it a tragedy of our own making. And then you got, look, I've never been a person, I don't agree with when that Fox personality said, shut up and dribble or just stick to sports. Because who gives you the right to tell other people what they can and can't say? Like, you had this great backing as this Fox commentator. You don't have any you're a commentator. That's it. That's all you are. Anybody has the right to speak up and say what they think. I wish more people would speak up and be educated about the situation. And who am I speaking at? Personally, I'm personally speaking at this person, Stephen A. Smith. I said in the first segment, sometimes it's your own that hurts you the most. And this buffoon is talking about the shooting on the air and saying that it's a tragedy, but that the shooting was justified. You know what, Stephen A. Smith? You need to shut the hell up and stick to sports. You don't deserve to talk about politics because you don't know what you're talking about at all. You're not this tough guy. You're not this person in the political world that even does research. Stick to ESPN. Stick to basketball, because when you expand out and talk to other sports, everybody knows that you're full of hot air. You're a bullshit artist. And you need to shut the hell up. But I just have a question. Why is it that certain civil resistance can be criminalized while others can't be? Like January 6th against everybody else. And official statements, should that be weighed more heavily than video evidence? Especially when you're getting the official statements from certain people. And is domestic terrorism being redefined in real time? Because domestic terrorism is Timothy McVeigh. Domestic terrorism is storming the Capitol. Domestic terrorism is a kidnapping plot on the governor of Michigan. Domestic terrorism is breaking in to a House of Representatives home and beating their husband with a hammer. That's domestic terrorism. Protests and holding political figures and entities and organizations to accountability is not domestic terrorism. So, Renee Nicole Goode, rest in peace. To her family members, I'm sorry for your loss. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family, the friends, the community of Minneapolis. And all I can say is, people out there, you need to wake the hell up. Because this case isn't about one shooting. It's about who gets labeled a threat when power feels challenged. All right, let's lighten the mood a little bit. And then gone heavy. I done attacked men. I've attacked conservatives. I done attacked MAGA. Let me attack unwanted house guests. Now, have I personally had unwanted house guests? Yes, I have, but not for long, right? There have been people that like came over and I was like, I'm ready for you to leave. And there have been times, where you like have somebody come over and they spend the night, you know what I'm saying, where you dating and you just like, all right, it's time for you to go. And there was one time where I was dating somebody. We were in a relationship and I was like, yo, like, when you gonna go home? You've been here for a couple of days. Cause it's tough for me to live with people. I've lived alone longer than that's not true. In my adult life, I've lived alone longer than I've actually lived with people. So it is tough for me to live with people. But there have been times in my household growing up where we had some unwanted guests. I'm not going to tell the story of an unwanted guest in our home. It's funny, but I would need certain family members' permission to tell that story. And I don't have that right now. But what I do have is an unwanted house guest story from where? My favorite social media site, Reddit. And it's Am I the Jerk? So the title is, Am I the Jerk for refusing to remove the lock I put on my son's door after my wife's nephew kept taking his stuff? Now, I love the title because he said my wife's nephew. Like, that's not his nephew. If she's your wife, that's your nephew. Even if it's I don't even know if there's a such thing called a step nephew, but it's a nephew through marriage, right? That's your nephew too. All right. So it's not your wife's nephew. From the title alone, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be feeling this. This seems a little biased, but I read it and I'm going to read it to you. And then I'm going to give you my opinion. And I'm sure some people in the comment section are going to give me their opinion. So let me tell you what he said. My wife's sister lost her apartment a while back and moved in with us along with her son, who was 17. My son is 15. They never really hung out before, but I figured they'd get along fine sharing the house. The problem started almost immediately. Her nephew has no concept of boundaries. He walks into my son's room whenever he wants and takes things. Video games, headphones, chargers, even money once. My son complained multiple times and talked to the kid about it, but nothing changed. My wife and her sister kept brushing it off, saying they're boys and this is just what they do. They figured it would work out. I disagreed. The final straw was when my son saved up for weeks to buy a limited edition controller he really wanted. It wasn't cheap. A few days after he got it, the nephew took it without asking and broke it. Said that he slipped. Didn't even apologize properly. My son was crushed. I went out and got a lock for his door. When my wife's sister and her son saw it, they were offended. She said I was treating her son like a criminal, that borrowing stuff between boys living together is normal, that my son shouldn't have expensive things if he can't share it. She even said I was spoiling him and creating bad habits. My wife took her side, said I embarrassed her family by putting a lock on the door and demanded I take it off. I told her the lock stays until her sister and nephew are out of our house. She got upset and said I was threatening to kick them out. I reminded her that I was the one who agreed to let them stay in the first place when no one else in the family would. Her own parents said no. Her brother said no. I said yes. And now I'm being treated like a bad guy for protecting my son's space. I just want my kid to feel safe in his own room. Am I the jerk? Hell no, you ain't the damn jerk. But you got a bigger problem on your hands. All right, let me break this down for you. Obviously, your wife and her sister are cool like that. They're close. Because the other brother and the parents said hell to the no about them coming to live with them. This is after her apartment got on fire. She lost it. She ain't got nowhere to go. Her own parents said hell no. Her other brother, her other sibling said hell no. Probably because they know that she and her son Your nephew, by the way, not your wife's nephew, your nephew, that's your family, you married into it. And you've been in it for a while because you got a 15-year-old son, right? So you knew him, maybe barely, but you knew him before you even had your own son. So that's your family too, right? But their family knew what was up. So you welcome into your home, and immediately they cross boundaries. And nobody is checking the nephew. Well, it's your house as well. You can check the nephew because he's living under your roof. So even if your wife doesn't agree, and you would hope that you would have a team, a partnership, there are certain rules. And he can either abide by those rules or be someplace else because it's your home. The fact that the mother didn't offer to reimburse the nephew, her nephew, by the way, her nephew, didn't reimburse her nephew this limited edition controller the money for the limited edition controller, lets you know that they think that they don't have to respect not only your stuff or appreciate the fact that you've opened up your home to them. But like I said, you got a bigger problem because your wife is on their side. So how do you correct this issue without causing a problem in your marriage? You're going to have a stern conversation with your wife. You're going to have the conversation of, yes, this is her sister. Yes, this is her family. But you and her son are her family. You, as her husband, are supposed to be the most important person in her life. That's what marriage is. Ladies and gentlemen, people get marriage confused. When you get married, the most important person in your life is your partner, above everybody else, above your parents, above your kids, above your siblings, because that's a choice. It's a union. You chose that. People don't understand that, take marriage lightly. Even me and my ex-wife understood that. Even though we're not married anymore, we understood that our relationship was the most important relationship, superseded my parents, her parents, my siblings, and everybody else understood that because that's what marriage is. So you got to have a real conversation with your wife because she's not only choosing her sister and her nephew over you, she's doing it over you guys, y'all's son. The fact that her sister even said that he shouldn't have expensive things if he can't share them, when you're sharing your home to her, look, let me tell you something. It would take everything inside of me not to kick them out of my house, out of the kindness of your heart. When nobody else in the family would, you open up your doors to them and they're not going to appreciate that shit. You either respect my household or you get the hell out. And I would tell my wife, you're either with me or you're not. We are your family. Your son has been expressing the fact that he is feeling violated. Stole money, says he goes in there borrowing stuff, even took some money. Your son went out there and saved up his money. Didn't ask you guys for it. He went out hustling, doing whatever that he needed to do. I don't know what it was that he does. Maybe he got himself a little job. You know, maybe he's like Steve from Stranger Things, working at the ice cream place. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where he does, but he saved up his money. And let me explain to you something. These controllers, they can go to $100, $150, $200. These limited edition controllers ain't cheap. And he's going to go into the room without asking, borrow it, and then break it and give a little half-assed apology. And then on top of that, my auntie is going to be defending her. Look, I've always been one to respect my elders, but I would have a stern conversation with my mom if I was like, yo, he went into my room and broke this. Are y'all gonna reimburse it? Who's gonna give me back my money? Because I didn't say that he could borrow it. If I said that he could borrow it and he broke it, maybe I have some responsibility, maybe. But he went into my room and took it. Dad, thanks for the lot. Yeah, stay the hell out my room. Stay out my room. And I don't care if you feel uncomfortable, because it's clear that y'all will not respect my wishes. As a son, the father as the half of the owner of the house, and it seemed like the wife is not respecting the husband or the son and is putting her sister and her nephew above them. That's the reason why I said you got a bigger issue. Yeah, you got an unwanted house guest, but you got issues in your marriage that need to be addressed immediately. Because I gather, and I don't know this couple at all, this isn't the only issue in the marriage. It's not. And if she can't understand not only her husband and her son's perspective, immediately takes sides and fights with you over something that is clearly justified, you got bigger issues. But to solve the unwanted house guests, you could just kick them out and deal with your wife. I mean, honestly. And, get back on your feet, auntie and nephew. Get back on your feet. But you should have known from the jump when mama and daddy and the other brother, the other sibling, said hell to the no about them moving in. You should have known that something like this there was a reason why. There was a reason why. Family normally sticks together. Family just don't be saying, nah, you can't come live with me in your times of need. There has to be a specific reason. And that should have told you. But I mean, it's, you want to do the right thing. You want to open up your home. Cool. The original question is, are you a jerk for putting a lock on the door? Nope. You're not a jerk. You're not a jerk at all. And I commend you, because you got more patience than I do, because not too many people going to disrespect my home like that. Family or otherwise. I don't care who you are. Not too many people going to disrespect my home and get away with it. They don't have to live there. You're doing a good thing. No, you're not a jerk for locking the door. But, ladies and gentlemen, what do y'all think? Is he a jerk for locking the door? Do you agree with the aunt and the nephew? Or do you agree with him and the son? Drop a line in the comments and let me know. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Woo! That was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast and YouTube exclusive content. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you really feel generous and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.